So what should you do if you are somebody who wants to purchase an iMac in 2019? Well, I'll tell you. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse, and if you want to get the best and most passionate tech commentary on the platform, look somewhere else, because that's not obviously what this is. This is just a maniac screaming into a lens with a new microphone. Also, don't forget to check out the Patreon and my website and my social links in the description, along with some affiliate links, and if you buy through those, my cat gets to eat, and if not, then he doesn't get food. Not really, but what should you do if you want to buy an iMac in 2019? Well, obviously, most people will probably tell you to wait. And honestly, that's probably what I would suggest doing, but some people need a computer right now, and I've devised a little plan for you through some of the comments I've left on YouTube. I've come up with this idea, and I think that this is a pretty solid idea for anybody who's looking to purchase an iMac in 2019. Obviously, as you know, Apple hasn't updated the iMac since 2017 when they came out with the updated specs. That's literally all that was essentially changed. They did change the screen slightly. It's like a little bit better screen now, but it's still a 5K screen and it looks great, whatever. And at this point, it's just an older computer. It's running a 7th gen i7. Intel has now released the 9th gen. And at this point, Apple has just been super reluctant to even upgrade to the 8th gen. And while I understand that there are natural hindrances in that process where it's like power delivery has to meet the power requirements and the demand that the Apple power supply inside of the iMac can provide, but at this point, it just seems lazy, seeing as they were able to update the Mac Mini to the 8th gen, update the new MacBook Pros to the 8th gen, and even update the MacBook Air to an 8th gen CPU. So iMac users were sort of left in the dust, and they were probably excited, seeing as the i7 8700K is very, very comparable to the 8-core Xeon processor inside of the iMac Pro that was released in late 2017. And if you are a video editor, an 8700K would be a much better processor, seeing as it comes with Intel QuickSync, which is basically Intel's magic way of making everything transcode a lot faster when transcoding video. That's what it does pretty much. Although Apple has sort of tried to get away from relying solely on Intel with the introduction of the T2 chip, which is an ARM-based chip, which helps with video encoding, along with security, along with not allowing you to fix your Mac unless you take it to like Apple. So what should you do? You're probably frustrated, and I hear you, and you should be, because at this point, it's become a little bit ridiculous. I don't know if Apple can only handle like, what, 3 releases of a Mac computer in 1 year, but it seems like they're probably big enough to be able to, you know, maybe have a 4th and a 5th in that time frame. Not only update the iMac, but also maybe considering updating any of their Pro computers, because now at this point, the iMac Pro is over a year old, and it still hasn't gotten an update. So let's just get into it. What should you do? Well, you should probably look at buying a 2015 iMac. Some of you will probably question why you would even consider doing that, because that's the 2-year-old computer and yada, yada, yada. Well, when actually looking at the specs of that computer, comparing it to the top-end specs of the 2017, they are actually kind of comparable in some aspects, and in other aspects, they aren't. The 2015 iMac does come with a 5K display. We will be talking about the top-end model of all of these, so 27-inch i7 and the best graphics card. The top-end iMac comes with a 5K display, either in the 2015 or the 2017. They both come with i7 processors. One is a 6700K and one is the 7700K, although they're really just 6700s and 7700s because Apple down throttles them quite a bit. And then they both come with DDR4 RAM up to 32 gigabytes, and the biggest difference is going to be the graphics card. The best one in the 2015 comes with an R9 M395, which is a mobile graphics card, comparing that to a desktop class GPU inside of the iMac, which is an RX 580, 8GB version. So that is really the biggest difference between these two computers. On the CPU side, you might even claim that a 6700K is better than a 7700K, although really the actual performance gain between those two is almost nothing, if not maybe like 5%. It was not a huge power-hungry spec bump for Intel. It was more of a power consumption, make it a little bit easier on the power supplies. So why should you buy the 2015 and not the 2014, or just get the 2017? Well, the 2015 is gonna have the most comparable specs, and it's probably gonna hold up a little bit longer, which is good, and I'll get to that a little bit later. The 2014 also has a 5K display, It comes with a 4th gen i7. It comes with a worse graphics card, yada, yada, yada. I believe it's an R9 M295, which is just a worse version of the R9 M395. Pretty obvious, but it's essentially a little bit worse and a little bit older. And while the 2014 would probably be fine, in my case, I would be able to use that computer just fine. The difference between the 6700K and the 7700K is going to be less than that of the difference between the 2014, 2015, 2014, 2017. Also, you need to keep in mind that people are going to be purchasing these computers for a very long time. So when they buy an iMac, they are expecting to keep it for more than just a year, which is great for you. And this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. If you buy a 2015 iMac or even a used 2014, either one of these would be fine, honestly. I would probably just lean towards a 2015 because people are going to want to pay just like a little bit more for a little bit better specs and a slightly better screen. That's pretty much the main reason to get the 2015 is just resale value. When you look at the pricing, obviously you're going to save a boatload of money. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about the smartest iMac to buy in 2019. And if you're somebody who wants the newest iMac, this will be good for you as well. Buying the fully spec'd, essentially fully spec'd, maybe you want to upgrade the RAM yourself, iMac from 2015 will run you about $1,200, maybe even closer to $1,000 if you get a good deal. And that's a really good thing because that'll save you about half of the price as the base model 27-inch 5K iMac from 2017. That's their most recent iMac. So not only are you saving thousands of dollars, but then when the new iMacs come out, the i5 processor inside of that and the new Navi GPUs from AMD, Navy, whatever, NVI GPUs from AMD will be put into those computers, so the lower spec models will be probably more powerful than the newest and highest spec iMac that you can buy in 2019 with the 7700K and the RX 580, because an i5 8600K in pretty much every regard beats an i7 7700K, especially for productivity tasks that require a bunch of cores. So what you should be looking at is a 2014 or 2015 5K iMac 27-inch that comes with an i7, and I'm probably leaning towards a 2015 because when you purchase it for $1,000, $1,200, when the new ones come out, you'll be able to sell those for about $1,000 to $1,200. Their value is sort of already set, and it won't go much lower even when the new ones are released. But the 2017s, even if you were to buy a used one, it's going to cost a lot more right now because those are brand new. That's the best computer that Apple sells in the iMac variant. And so when you buy that, you might buy it for like $1,700, $1,800, $1,900, $2,000. But then the problem with that is when the new ones come out, those are going to drop to what the 2015 prices are now, and the 2015s are going to drop like 10% maybe. So instead of losing like a ton of money when buying a 2017, you could pretty much get almost all your money back and then buy the latest updated version of the new iMac if you wanted to, or if you didn't, you could keep that computer, the 5K iMac, which would be plenty for most people. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of iMacs. I probably wouldn't even buy one if I were you. Although this is going to be your best way to get the best price to performance, good longevity, and still get a very, very nice computer. If we're up to me, I would just have you build your own PC. No, not really. I'm not one of those guys. I would probably say get a used MacBook Pro like a late 2013 because I'm a huge fan of those computers and they cost cheaper than all these iMacs, although you don't get the screen, yada, yada, yada. So what's the biggest negative with buying the 2015 or 2014? The only real negative is Thunderbolt 3. Thunderbolt 3 allows 40 gigabits per second transfer speeds. It's in the USB Type-C form factor. That comes on the 2017 variant of the iMac. The 2015 and 2014 only come with Thunderbolt 2. And for some people who want to use an eGPU, this might be a big deal. But just remember, when you're running an eGPU and you're taking it out into the graphics card and pumping it back into the display, you're going to lose a lot more performance than if you were to pump it out and into another display. So really an eGPU with an iMac isn't really a good solution because an iMac is purchased because of the screen and the specs are an afterthought. So I would consider not really caring about Thunderbolt 3. Plus Thunderbolt 2 allows for really cool connections like one of these old Apple Thunderbolt displays that I made a video about just yesterday, or no wait, 2 days ago. My most recent video other than this one, I made a video about that, and that's a really great monitor still in 2019. And it's only like $300-400 and it has so many extra features that your iMac sort of already comes with, but it's a great display and a great companion with an older iMac, and there's no janky $80 cable that you have to buy through Apple in order to get it to work. So I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse. If you liked the video, hit like, hit subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What iMac should you buy? In my opinion, probably don't buy any of them. There are way better options on the used market than an iMac, and packaging and shipping one of these things is a little bit of a pain, so I would probably suggest buying it used on eBay. Or if the person is selling it locally near you, which is my preferred place to purchase, make sure it comes with a shipping box, or be prepared to buy like a $50 box on eBay when it comes time to sell. So this has been Scott with Techno Eclipse. This video really wasn't about performance, because the performance in the 2015 versus the 2017, I mean, the GPU performance isn't really comparable. It's twice as powerful in the 2017. CPU performance is about the exact same. And the screen is a little bit better in 2017. It should be. It's newer. But when you look at the price and the resale value, it makes way more sense to get a 2015 5K iMac with an i7 and an M395 for like $1,200. All right, thanks again for watching. Again, I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse. Don't forget to check out the links down below. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and don't forget to check out the podcast. Peace out.